Have you ever had that feeling, that chilling sensation of déjà vu, but 10 times stronger? Like you've seen yourself, but from the outside. I saw myself leave my own house. I watched my own back as I walked down the street, disappearing into the evening fog. But the impossible part, I was still standing right there, in the doorway, watching it all happen. It's a story that will make you question everything you think you know about who you are. Stick around and subscribe if you dare. Because we're about to explore the idea that some identities, once born, can never truly fade away. It all started on a Tuesday, I think. The day was unremarkable, just another turn of the cog in the great machine of the week. As dusk settled, painting the sky in shades of bruised purple and soft orange, I stood by my living room window. That's when I saw him. Me. He walked out the front door, confidently, with a purpose I didn't feel. He pulled the collar of his jacket up against the evening chill, the same jacket hanging on the hook behind me, and set off down the path. But I hadn't moved. I was still inside, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. There were two of us, two versions inhabiting the same space, the same life. One body casting one shadow, but somehow, impossibly, split in two. I pressed my hand against the cold glass of the window, my breath fogging the pain. Who was that? And more importantly, who was I? For the first few days, I told myself it was just stress, hallucination brought on by too much coffee and not enough sleep. I tried to rationalize it, to explain it away as a trick of the light, a vivid dream that had bled into my waking hours. It's easy to dismiss the impossible when it only happens once. But then, it happened, again and again. I'd catch a glimpse of him in a shop window, laughing with friends I was supposed to be meeting. I'd hear his voice on the phone, making plans I had no memory of. The line between dream and reality started to blur, to fray at the edges, until I could no longer tell which was which. Then, one night, the silence was broken. I was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing, when I heard a voice. It was my voice, but it wasn't coming from my throat. It came from the darkness in the corner of the room. "You are not who you think you are," it said. The words weren't a threat. They were a statement of fact, delivered with a calm certainty that was more terrifying than any scream. Each syllable echoed in the stillness, resonating deep within me, like a forgotten truth I'd spent my entire life trying to bury. He stepped out of the shadows, a perfect replica of me, but with an unnerving confidence in his eyes. He smiled, a slow, knowing smile. "You've been living a comfortable lie," he continued, his voice a low whisper. "But I'm the truth you've been avoiding." My first instinct was primal. Fear, a cold, liquid dread that seeped into my bones and paralyzed me. I had to get away. I threw some clothes into a bag, grabbed my keys, and ran. I drove for hours with no destination in mind, just the desperate need to put distance between myself and that that other me. I ended up in a small, anonymous motel, hundreds of miles away. The kind of place where people go to disappear. I locked the door, bolted it, and leaned a chair against the knob, my body trembling. For a moment, I felt a flicker of relief. I was safe. But as I turned from the door, my heart stopped. He was already there. He was sitting calmly on the edge of the bed, watching me with that same unsettling, patient smile. It was impossible. There's no way he could have gotten there before me. "You can't run from yourself," he said, his voice as calm as ever. It was then I realized the true nature of my horror. This wasn't a stalker I could escape, or a ghost I could exorcise. He was a part of me. Everywhere I went, he was there, not just following, but preceding me. He was living my life, but better, more freely. I'd see him through windows, talking to my neighbors, walking my dog, his movements identical to mine, yet infused with a vigor I hadn't felt in years. He wasn't just a shadow. He was taking over, living the life I was too afraid to live myself. And I was becoming the ghost, the spectator to my own existence. The days that followed were a waking nightmare. I became a prisoner in my own home, a shadow in my own life. I watched as this other self, this doppelganger, thrived. He excelled at my job, reconnected with old friends I'd let drift away, and even fixed the leaky faucet I'd been ignoring for months. He was me, but without the anxiety, the self-doubt, the baggage. He was the idealized version, the man I always wished I could be. And the more he lived, the more I faded. It was like he was siphoning the very essence of my being, growing stronger and more solid as I became more transparent, more forgotten. My own reflection in the mirror started to look less like me and more like him. The fear was constant, a low hum beneath the surface of everything. But beneath the fear, a new feeling began to grow. Resentment. This was my life. He had no right to it. One night, I'd had enough. The exhaustion of being a spectator, the constant terror, it all boiled over. I found him in the study, reading one of my favorite books. The sheer audacity of it ignited a spark of anger in my fading spirit. I stood before him, my form flickering like a weak flame, and I finally confronted him. My voice was barely a whisper, thin and reedy. "What are you? Why are you here?" He slowly closed the book, marking his page, and looked up at me. There was no malice in his eyes, only a kind of sad recognition. He didn't stand. He just looked at me, really looked at me, and his voice was soft, almost a secret between us. I'm not here to replace you, he whispered. I'm the part of you that you locked away. The confidence you were told was arrogance. The passion you were taught to suppress. The joy you felt you didn't deserve. You tried to kill me, to bury me under layers of conformity and fear. But you can't kill a part of yourself. You can only set it free. He stood up, and for the first time, he seemed solid, real, while I felt like a gust of wind. And now, he said, taking a step toward the door, I am free. He walked past me, a faint smile on his lips. I watched him go, my other self, my better self. He walked out the front door and down the street, a confident figure disappearing into the night. And then the impossible happened again. Just like that first night, I saw myself leave. But I was still standing there, in the study, my hand resting on the book he had just put down. The room felt empty, but also, strangely, full of possibility. Was he real? Or was he a manifestation of a part of my psyche I'd finally acknowledged? Maybe I didn't run away. Maybe I just ... let him go. The line is blurry. Was he the man who left, or am I? Maybe we both are. This story makes you wonder, doesn't it? About the masks we wear and the parts of ourselves we hide. What would happen if your other self, your truer self, decided it was done hiding? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the shadows of identity, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell.